So today's treatment is about minimizing pores. You want to turn the machine on, going under the eye area here gently, still holding the skin really taut. And I'm taking the spatula almost like a pin. This treatment is perfect. Hello everyone, I'm Lashelle Men skin health expert, and today we're going to be doing the HydroDiamond facial. So the HydroDiamond facial is a combination of your classic microdermabrasion facial mixed with your HydroDerm facial, which is combined synergistically to work together to give a more effective but gentler exfoliating experience to your client. So we're going to also combine that with using the oxygen serum therapy, which infuses oxygen into the epidermal layers, topical layers of the skin, which is going to help soothe and calm the skin. So today's treatment is about minimizing pores and really focusing on these fine lines here in his skin. So we're just gonna go on to clean face and start this process. For the reduction of the pores, I've chosen to use our Sal Pure, which is 3% salicylic acid, which is great for antibacterial purposes, but also great for shrinking the pores. So you wanna start that by gently taking your brush, kind of applying on the skin. Keep in mind, all our products are interchangeable with other products. So if your client has larger pores and you want to add a little bit more salicylic acid to the mixture, you can do that as well. Sometimes I do that on certain clients who need a little bit more. A great way that you can do this that's really effective, sometimes I do this most of the time, is apply a topical application of it. I let it sit for less than a minute, up to a minute, depending on the client's skin condition, and then I'll reapply again, and then I'll start the exfoliation process. This way that I know that that product has really penetrated into the skin. Once again, we're dealing with a men's skin, so it's 20% thicker. So with men, you can actually take liberty and add a little bit more, do things a little bit more deeply, sometimes at the first treatment. So I'll reapply at the bottom as I go further on. The machine's already on. I'm gonna choose my diamond tip head. So I've chosen to use our H150 head, which is more sensitive skin tip. And the reason why I've chosen this one for our client today is one, they haven't been in to have a skin treatment in a while. B, as a fair skin toned man, Fitzpatrick one for our professionals. So you can always start, gentler is always best, and then you can always build up after each treatment. So we're gonna use this one today. You wanna turn the machine on and bring it to the mode for, I always like to start the suction about midpoint. I think it's about 35 on the machine. We don't really have numbers here, but if you just keep it like in the middle from lowest to highest, it's a great way to start. But you can always check in with your client. And I mostly don't need to go any higher than that because you don't want to cause any uncomfortability to the client, but it's a great way to get effective exfoliation. I would like to test it here, my fingertip, so I know if it's good for me, it could be good for them. And I'm gonna just give a little bit of a swipe. I'm gonna start at the bottom just to kind of tap in and check in with my client. But I normally start from the forehead down to the neck, one side, and then the next side. How's that feel?
Good.
Is that a little tight?
Yep.
Okay, great. We're gonna start. Skin is still nicely moisturized with our solution. And what I like to do is stretch the skin, long strokes, because that tends to feel really good. You want to be intentional even with this stroke, even though you're doing something mechanical, you still want to give a relaxing experience. And so the long strokes feel like you're kind of massaging the skin. It also creates a nice barrier and slip for the skin, which diminishes any sensitivity that may show up in someone like Nikki today, our model. You can already see the flush in his skin from the pressure of the tool. And so this is why, if this feels a little abrasive as our sensitive diamond tip, we do have clearer tips for more sensitive skin that will still be effective for them. As you can see, the solution's already absorbed into Nikki's face. So this is where I start to apply more. And the reason why I'm also applying more too is because I can see that there's some blackheads there. And I really want this Sal Pure to the best of its ability at 3% to start to decongest, so that when I need to go into the extraction portion of the facial, that it becomes a little bit more easier and I don't have to apply so much pressure. But let's finish the exfoliation first. Kind of jumping ahead, and we go back to just long strokes here. And you want to go vertical. So horizontal, vertical. Nikki, how does that feel?
As you said, with massaging the skin.
Right. And that's the point.
Feels really good.
Yeah. Most clients, I like the idea of still giving therapeutic touch, but you know, as a practitioner or you as a client, you know, you're coming in for certain results and our machines can give those results, but it's still up to us as the practitioner to apply that relaxation anywhere we can. And so I try to do it using the tools that we have. So we're just gonna apply a little bit more. It's going onto the cheek area. So one of the things that I love using the HydroDiamond abrasion tool is because it's a great post and pre-shaving treatment. Now Nicky today shaved before he came to us, and so we're just going to that's why another reason why I chose a gentle tip, because he's already done a mechanical exfoliation at home and I don't want to continue to agitate the skin, but it's a great way to kind of continue to kind of really smooth out some of that texture after he's shaven. But if you do get a client who needs to pre-shave and they have a little bit of stubble and they still have skin that you can directly hit with the tool, because you can hit that with the tool, and it's a great way for you to kind of get some of that harder skin off underneath the stubble so they can go home and continue to shave properly and may get a smoother shave if they are shaving the correct way. Keeping the skin taut is very important, especially around the neck area, because you don't want the suction to grab the skin. So be very mindful of that. Horizontal, I'm moving a little quicker. When you do this area, most men tend to get very red and flaky here, whether they have a beard or not. It's a dry area, one of the drier pockets in our skin. One of the most neglected, especially men with beards, they really neglect this area. So this technique, this modality, this treatment is perfect for addressing those dry pocketed areas, okay? I'm going to grab his nose, and I usually just do vertical here, across above the lip, take the cheek here, a bit more, going under the eye area here, gently, still holding the skin really taut. And then we're gonna also take the same tip, gently, and do a little lip as well. Do what you have to do. Hold that lip taut. I usually go vertical. Sometimes I get the ears as well too, because the ears are part of the face. I know, did that feel a little cold and tickly? Some clients go, I've never, no one's ever did my ears before, but it's a part of your face, you know, and it shows. Gently. And then in this area too. If you can feel the texture, I wish that you can see texture on the camera, but you can definitely feel the texture. And he's ready for his next step. How was that, Nicky? Did that feel okay?
Yep.
All right, great. So we're gonna move on to our next step. So we've just completed the HydroDerm abrasion, the exfoliative process. I'm gonna take this warm towel to remove any of the excess solution that's left on the face so that we can prepare to infuse some of the serum. Now keep in mind that we're doing this just for sake of demo, but this would be, you would do your extractions first, put your mask on, then you'll take your hot towel, and then you'll do this step here, and then you'll move on to infusing the serums towards the end of your treatment. So for the sake of time today, we're just gonna go right into infusing serums, and I'm gonna show you the particular serums that I've chosen today and why. So we're gonna start first with our oxygen serum infusion, which I will use gently all over the face. That will penetrate the serums right onto the epidermal layer of the skin, the top layer of the skin. But I'm going to also go back into the eye area, the lip area, and the forehead area around the eye area for Nick for the sake of his lines and prevention of lines. And here's the thing, we're not going to be able to get rid of lines, but we can do by taking our Mesotherapy spatula treatment that I will show you how to use. That will help just kind of soften the lines around his face and eyes and kind of give him a little bit of plumpness to his skin. So one second, let's do it. So the serums that I've chosen to use today was actually all three serums. So we're doing our Oxy Type Pro, which has peptides in it, which is great for your male clientele to really kind of rejuvenate and really feed the nutrients that the skin needs. It also helps with plumpness. We're gonna do a little bit of anti-aging, and for the sake of minimizing pores today, we chose the Glyco Velvet Pro, which has your glycolic and vitamin C, and Revitatox, which has your hyaluronic acid. So I'm gonna cocktail these three and put them here in our oxygen gun to infuse it topically on top of Nick's face, and also in the neck and décolleté area as well. This is also something great that you can use in the hairline as well as under the beard as well. So less is more, a little bit of Glyco. I try to use equal parts, but if you don't, it's okay. Now, once again, if you have other products with the same viscosity, thin viscosity, almost like a water-based viscosity, to sort of infuse into this cocktail or into your serum cocktail, you can definitely do that, and it would still work with our machines. And this is the beautiful part of the integrative machines that we have here, as well as our products, is that it can be used to enhance other products. So I'm gonna just pour a little bit of that into the top of the gun here. Cap that off, set the mode. All right, we're gonna go to oxygen, set the mode to oxygen, start. Now, what I normally like to do with clients at the beginning, you already feel the pressure of the air. So what I do is this, especially for first timers, people can be claustrophobic and you wanna be mindful of that. Nick, how does that feel?
Great.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I tend to go a little bit closer, but you gotta be really careful and gauge your client. And because I'm gonna infuse a little bit of mesotherapy on top of his lines, I don't need to go as close because it would really be more of a concentrated penetration. So I just wanna use it as a light mist because we're gonna do other things to infuse moisture and lock that moisture in. Other modalities, we're gonna use other modalities to lock the moisture in. So I kind of took the gun and brought it up as a way to kind of add sort of a light distribution and an even distribution of the product. If you have any remaining products, sometimes this is where I can take it into the hairline. So we're gonna do mesotherapy eye treatment, which is going to help with the reduction of the fine lines, and we're gonna give them a nice lip treatment as well as a nice eye treatment as well. We're gonna have the client hold these two grounding poles. Can you hold that? I normally just have my client hold it, and what you can do is hold it and just go put yourself right back under the cover where you were. So we wanna make sure that our client is nicely comfortable. We've gave him the two electrodes that will ground him and allow the product to penetrate into the skin. And what you wanna do is flip the machine back on again. Push start, and let's find your meso eye. With any mesotherapy, because we're using a light electrocurrent technology to infuse it into the skin, you wanna make sure that the client doesn't have the contraindications, which you can look at in our training manual, or we can actually train you on, but I don't wanna get into that too deeply here. But things that consider like any metal in the skin, or any metal that they may have inside of them, or fillings. Now, Nick, do you have any fillings of any kind? Okay, no. Great. And certain health conditions like epilepsy or certain cancer contraindications can play a part in someone not being able to do mesotherapy. But our client today is fine and he's great, and we're gonna start. So with mesotherapy on the forehead, I actually am gonna use a little bit of our firming genius. Peptides again, very lightweight, thin viscosity. And at the beginning, because you can turn this all the way up to 13, I usually start about a 2 or 3, especially because the forehead is so shallow and you want to check in with the client to make sure that it's comfortable for them. So you switch it on because it's off. And once you switch it on, immediate to touch this, you feel something. And so normally I like to go, how does that feel?
So you're doing something right?
Mm-hmm. So that means you can go a little bit higher. I love that. You want to make sure the skin has a slip to it. All right, let's try it again. I'll try it on this side. How's that feel?
Good. I
Good?
don't feel anything.
You still don't feel anything?
Still
okay. Today we're going to be using our Zemit's Peptide Elixir, which has a little bit of gold flakes in it. I'll actually show you that up close. And gold flakes are great. Go on top of the skin, a light application of it. And because our client says that we can go a little higher. I just went a little higher on the machine and we're about at a 9. So you always want to check in and keep in mind that you will have to change the modalities. The forehead is shallow, the neck tends to be shallow, but around the cheek to chin, the cheek area tends to be the thickest and you can go a little bit higher, and then the chin tends to be shallow, and the lips you can tend to go about a 4 or 5. Right now, we're just gonna go down just for the sake of his comfortability. We're gonna go back down to about a 5. How's that feel?
Yeah, that feels. I feel that it's comfortable.
It's comfortable,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, fine.
And so this is timed, and what I normally do is I time this until I see the product is really gone and really sort of absorbed into the skin. And I'm taking the spatula almost like a pin, and you can go right into his lines. I think a man who has lines on his face looks really, really good. You just want to make sure they look hydrated and that they're getting the nourishment that it needs so his skin looks healthy. Is this okay? Okay, great. Now, you will see something immediately for some clients, but definitely over time. This is a treatment that I do on its own, 30 minutes, just in these areas. And then I'll have a client come back maybe a couple of times, maybe once a week for a month or once every month. And I'll do it close to 40 minutes, just mesotherapy eye. And you'll start to see a change and diminish in the lines and the plumpness in the skin, especially in these concentrated areas. So I'm gonna take this under his eye. We're using our Firming Genius solution. Get it on that cheek area as well, because remember, this is where his pores, most people's pores, especially men's pores, tend to be much more open, and we're trying to diminish and close those pores. And a lot of pores, large pores always indicate dehydration. So our Firming Genius with the peptides and the gold pieces will be great for hydrating that area and reducing the size of those pores. So I'm gonna take a little bit of our Pepti Elixir on top of the Firming Genius and go right into the eye area. You can do it in reverse. You don't have to do Firming Genius first. You can do the Pepti Elixir or any elixir that you have first and then put the Firming Genius on top. Either way, it's still going to be infused by your modality. Now, once again, this is a really sensitive area, so you want to make sure that you test it and ask the client how they're doing. How's that feel?
Good.
Can you feel that? Is that something that I can take up a little bit?
Maybe you can take up a little bit.
A little bit? I'll take it up 1.
Okay.
Yeah, because this can be really sensitive to the client, and for the sake of my hand, so can I do this? Okay. So for me, I'm a lefty and I work in the studio this way, so I have to sort of use my finger to press onto his chin so that I can still keep it comfortable for him, because I want to really work the product into the inner corner of the eye. This is great for men's crow's feet, the beginnings of it, or the maintenance of them so they can look really hydrated and diminished. How's that feel? Can you feel that?
Yeah, I feel it in my mouth.
Can you feel that? That's a common feeling when you're doing electrical current. I adore this. This is gonna really be great. And what I like to do is not only infuse it, but I use the spatula and start really sculpting to really tighten. So we worked around the eye area, and now we're gonna move into the marionette lines and then the lip area as well. This is great for someone if your male clientele have gotten some fillers or Botox, and a month after and maybe a month before they get their next treatments of Botox or fillers, this is a great way to add more hydration into those areas. So this can be a great maintenance plan to those particular types of treatments as well. Our client today is naturally he doesn't have any of those treatments done to him, but for the male clientele who does, mesotherapy eye technique is a great way to sort of just continue on what the dermatologist or the plastic surgeon has started. So we're gonna do a little bit of Firming Genius on the lip, same cocktail. I'm just gonna actually just use the peptide on his lip for the hydration today. But once again, it depends what you want to use, what you're doing. You can always add your own cocktail of serums. Now I want to get a generous amount because I'm gonna work around the vermilion line as well as on the lips itself. How's that feel? Can I go a little bit more? Another thing in the mouth area, if your client has just shaven, like my client today, this is also going to really infuse that area and really kind of nourish that area in a really significant way, because he feels a little bit extra dry here today. So this is a perfect treatment for him. So I'm gonna actually take this spatula One of the things you want to keep in mind is when you move the device from the skin, when you want to place it back onto the skin, you want to turn it right back down to a 0 or a 1. Check in with the client, reapply if need be. We already have some solution there. I kind of check in and Nick, how's that feeling? Okay. And then you can work your way back up and turning up the volume or the level of intensity. You don't want to take this off and then start this back on at the 405 or even 302 because it can actually shock the client and make this treatment very uncomfortable. So this is about really just kind of stopping, slowing down, restarting again to reapply and to kind of re-go over the sections that you need to go over. So I'm gonna finish here on Nick's other marionette line. And as I said today, we're just gonna stay in the line area, the lip and the eyes, which we did today. So just gonna move move a little bit quicker. Peptide elixir right under the eye area. This is also a great section for this area as well. Like, it's highly neglected by men, especially men with facial hair, and it tends to be a little bit more sensitized and drier. So the machine's at a 0, and how's that feel?
No.
Okay, great. So I'm just gonna go up 2. How's that feel?
Good, you can go up 1 more.
Okay, how's that feel? And just kind of pulling the eye back and kind of really sculpting. So to conclude, we were able to use our HydroDiamond exfoliation technique. We were able to infuse some serums into the skin by using our oxygen serum technique, and we finished it off in secular spaces of using our Mesotherapy eye technique in the fine lines, marionette lines, and eye treatment. From here, you can add your finishing products, which would be your moisturizers and your sun protections for him. But for some clients, sun protection, just a little bit of sun protection on top of this would work as well because the skin is so perfectly hydrated. So if you have any questions, please DM us and we'll be more than happy to walk you through and train you on this protocol.